is the all-conference ACC player. Kilgannon is a pass rusher. McMahon pass drops. He's got to be in the flat today. The two linebackers, McDaniel and Swan. Two fine linebackers.
Third down, 8. No blitz. It's a 4-man rush by the Cavaliers. Everett with time. Goes deep left side. Almost picked off. It is not. Caught out of bounds as Ray Daly, who leads the Virginia team with 6 interceptions, almost had his 7th.
Vern, the secondary is really going to get tested. The two cornerbacks are really going to get all they want today of looking at Jim Everett, because they're really going to try to test those two players. He did on that particular play.
Now coming in to punt on 4th down is Brian Thornton. And Ray Daly drifts back in anticipation of receiving the kick. There's Thornton, a 5th-year senior, 4 years a walk-on. And he finally got a scholarship this year. His dad, Len, at one time played for the Montreal Canadiens in the National Hockey League. And Ray Daly, who spent 2 years under George Welsh at Navy and then transferred to Virginia. As the catch at the 40. It is dropped at the 37. The Virginia offense making their first bowl appearance ever after the 36-yard kick. Don Mikowski is the quarterback, starter in the last half of the season, and then Steve Morse.
He's the vertical runner. There's Petty, the power runner. John Ford, a freshman, is the top receiver in the ACC as far as the rookies. Then Merrick, the split end, and then Hitchcock, power football tight end.
Brian Hitchcock is wearing number 85 today instead of his accustomed 81. Somebody misplaced his jersey. They opened the boxes and it wasn't there. First down, 10, Virginia. Mikowski, the man under. Play fake, and he'll throw on first down. And he's going deep. It's almost intercepted. Rod Woodson knocked it away.
Virginia's got an outstanding offensive line on the left side. Dombrowski is all-conference. Olderman is an all-conference player. Guerin, the center, best center in the ACC in '85. Battle is a real positive player. They've had 5 different right guards, and then Chapin's first start at right tackle.
Second down and 10 from the 40. No score. Opening series for the Virginia Cavaliers. And the wings at this time. Make the draw. Mix up on the play. Loss of yardage. Went to the fullback, Steve Morse. And they had a mix-up on the handoff. Defensive line for the Boilermakers. Tony Visco, Melvin Menke, Brad Horner, Kevin Holly, Don Baldwin, Jason Houston, and Kevin Sumlin are the linebackers. And now Virginia will be facing a 3rd down and 10. 3rd and 13, beg your pardon. Mikowski, incomplete. It'll be 4th down. That time intended for Nick Merrick.
That's a little bit out of a character for a George Welsh football team, Vern, because generally they don't come out and throw on first down. They try to have a lot of success on first and second downs. They come out throwing, then they run and they fall, then they have to go to the obvious pass situation. So it was not a characteristic drive. Not a very good drive either, short.
Kevin Ferguson is on to punt. He was the starter at quarterback the first 5 games of the year before giving way to Mikowski. Is now a defensive back, and last year, to show his versatility, he played 7 games at the end of the season as a flanker. And Woodson and Griffin are deep to receive for Purdue at the 25. Not a particularly great punt. Griffin to the 28-yard line. Steve Griffin, the starting wide receiver. That's a 40-yard line drive kick and 5 on the return, and there is also a flag down. Officials today, our referee is Tommy Miller. And a clipping call against Purdue will cost them yardage back toward their goal line. Umpires Thomas Rose, the head linesman James Mahan, the field judge Michael Looney, line judge Gail Porter, the back judge Buddy Ward. They are from the Southern Independent Collegiate Officials Association. George Welsh, 6-5 last year after a 2-9 season his first year.
We have clipping during the return, half the distance to goal line, first down.
Purdue will have the ball, but they'll have it back at their own 13-yard line. Timeout midway through the first quarter. We're back in Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta on this last day of 1984 as Purdue gets its second offensive series. Vern Lundquist and Steve Davis on CBS. Don't forget Boston College and Houston coming up tomorrow for the Cotton Bowl in Dallas, where it's a little colder than it is here. First down and 10. Everett with a play fake and a good one, and he's going deep. Daly is back there going for the interception and has it as he steps in front of the underthrown pass that was intended for Steve Griffin. Daly just missed one. Now he's got one.
One of the things that Virginia was going to do at the ball game is change up their coverages. They give them a 2 deep, a little bit different look. It's trying to go to Griffin number 2, but Daly makes his 7th interception, perfectly timed. The attitude of Purdue was to take advantage of those 2 cornerbacks. Right now, Daly got the upper hand.
Second offensive possession for the Cavaliers. They operate from their own 43. 44 maybe. Up the middle it goes to Howard Petty, his first carry, and Brad Horner, the nose guard, number 92, made the tackle. Virginia will alternate their tailbacks throughout the game, Petty and Barry Worthy.
They really, both players, one has a little bit more speed. It's Barry Wood, number 4, but Petty's the starter. He's the vertical runner. He'll really, every yard or every step he takes is vertical upfield, and they like him a little bit more because of that ability.
Second down and 7. There's the option for the first time. Petty with a pitch, jammed up nicely by the Boilermaker defense. Don Anderson, number 15, made the stop, and it'll be third down.
When you're playing option football, one of the things you do early in the ball game is make sure you find out how they're playing the perimeters. Who's got what responsibility? That's why they take the chance, pitch the ball, and see how the corners roll up. And that's the reason for that play that particular time.
Third and 5. Option comes to the near side. Petty gets it, gets a good block, clears the corner, and I don't know if he got enough for the first down. Close, near the 46-yard line. Don Anderson made the stop, and they'll bring the chain across. You really like the way Mikowski runs this option, don't you?
I really think that he is a fine young option quarterback. He does all the right things. Earlier in the year, before he was the starting quarterback, he made mistakes, but as he has gone through the season, he has become more comfortable with his signal calls and what he's doing. Very strong arm. I think he's a better passer than what the films show. A wishbone quarterback in high school. Just a little short for the 1st and 10, but he does the right things.
Now on 4th down from the opponent's 45, what do? You kick this early in the game?
Well, we've seen a ball game that was a little bit uncharacteristic of what we expected early. I would think they'll probably go for it and try to do a little power football. That's what's gotten them here. Their left side offensive line's exceptionally strong with Dombrowski and Olderman. I'd expect some sort of power play to the left side. And
again, that is Brian Hitchcock, number 85 instead of 81. He's the starting tight end, but wearing 85 because his jersey was misplaced. 4th and a foot. Quarterback keeper. Mikowski appears to have gotten enough to move the chain. Jason Houston, number 57, down low to make the tackle, but was it soon enough?
He did sneak to the left side.
First down. Unusual, Steve, in that George Welsh made the quarterback change after 5 games back. They were 4-1 at the time, and he went with Mikowski instead of Ferguson. That's an unusual time to make the change.
The option play that he could run a little bit better than the other quarterback gave them a little bit better look, and so that's why they made the change.
There's Steve Morse, who gets the handoff and picks up a couple. Jason Houston again with a tackle. Morse, an interesting study out of 8 Mile, Alabama. Leon Burtnett looking on. Morse, 2 years ago, was a starter at defensive end. George Welsh came in and said, I think you've really reached your potential at this spot. We're going to move you to the offense. And he became the 3rd team fullback. Now he's the starter. 2nd down and 8. Petty to the 38-yard line. And it's Melvin Menke, number 91, who makes the tackle.
You were talking about the quarterback change at midseason. Kevin Ferguson was the starter at the beginning of the season, and Mikowski just really came on, and the option play really gave them a dimension that they needed offensively, and so that was the reason for the quarterback change, and also they felt like that Ferguson was maybe a better defensive player. They moved him to defense.
There's Petty, who has gone the distance here in the 1st quarter. It'll be 3rd down and 4. Gino Zemmerlink goes over, and Mikowski not happy with the play selection, so he takes a timeout. The timeout comes with 10:13 to go in a scoreless first quarter. That really promises to be an interesting matchup, BC and Houston. Bill Yeoman's team will sneak up on you as they did on most of the Southwest Conference this year.
In Dallas, the story is that Boston College has gotten all the attention. They're bringing 22,000 people from New England area, and Houston's up there kind of laying a little bit low.
3rd down and 4. Mikowski lets it fly. Zemmerlink has it, first down at the 20. Gino Zemmerlink, junior tight end from Milltown, New Jersey. That is his 23rd catch of the year, a gain of 13.
They're a little bit predictable. When Zemmerlink's in the ballgame at tight end, they're generally going to throw the ball. This is the thing Mikowski can do to a defense. He stretches you. Play action fake. Roll out. Throw the ball complete to Zemmerlink. Zemmerlink came in the ballgame with 22 receptions, and yet he's not the starter at tight end.
9:50 to go first quarter. No score, first serious threat. This is Petty with Morse in front. Gets back inside, picks up a quick 5. Nice run.
One of the things, Vern, when you run option football that is so interesting, when you're running horizontal back and forth across the field, you create seams. And if you're a defensive team and you're trying to fill those gaps and fill those seams, and you've got to play vertical, all of a sudden you create those areas, and then a running back on the sweep play or the option play, you'll see the cutback a lot. And that happens in football when you're going sideline to sideline. You just cut and find your own area, and a defense that hasn't played option football will be a little bit vulnerable.
Big 2nd down and 5. Morse gets the handoff. Lunging down near the 11-yard line as Melvin Menke, number 91, makes the tackle. Interesting, as you talk about that, Purdue, I think, had some problems in learning how to practice against the option, didn't they?
Boy, it's option football. If you're a team like Purdue that passes, the hardest thing is to create the picture in practice. First of all, they don't have a quarterback at Purdue that knows how to run the option play. They don't have enough depth at quarterback, so you couldn't hit the quarterback. It's very difficult to create the picture. It's difficult for Oklahoma to prepare for the passing game because they can't throw.
3rd and 1.
Same principle.
Morse. Oh, Mikowski pitching. Petty. Out of bounds. Touchdown. Now the signal comes. Yes. It was a very late signal. But there's a great example of the option ability of Don Mikowski.
And also the example of what we were talking about. Purdue had a pretty good defensive style. They had the quarterback stop. They were in the right place, but they weren't ready for that last-minute pitch, and that's what made the difference.
Please stand by for a weather advisory on your screen.
Dominance is a player of doing the right thing, of pitching the ball at that last possible second.
Kenny Stadlin will try the extra point. It's up. He's perfect all year. As a matter of fact, that's his 58th consecutive extra point.
Watch Mikowski, the quarterback, come down the line of scrimmage, go to the end man. There's no one there, so he cuts inside. Someone finally picks him up. The last second pitches the ball to Petty. Let's see. Right on the flag. That's all it takes. 7-0. We're going to be right back.
After Ray Daly's interception of a Jim Everett pass, the Cavaliers went 55 yards in 10 plays, took 4:33 off the clock, and the touchdown came on the pitch out from Mikowski to Harold Petty, 11 yards, as he towed the flag in the right corner of the end zone. Now Kenny Stadlin at 5'6", getting ready to kick off. Stadlin is a soccer-style kicker, but he never played soccer. He said baseball was his game in high school. Finally decided he wanted to learn how to kick, and how well can he do it? Well, he kicked a 56-yarder earlier this year to set a Virginia school record.
Isn't that interesting there? For years we did not see the soccer-style kicker, and then here's a guy that never played soccer, and he's kicking soccer.
That's right. See what the Gogolak started? Beating Charlie. Here's the kick. Wallace at the 5. Oh, what a pop at the 16-yard line. Near the conclusion of today's CBS Sports College Football broadcast, Steve Davis and I will be selecting a Chevy Most Valuable Player of the Game from each of these teams. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school. That'll be coming along in the fourth quarter. Our score right now is 7-0 Virginia. Purdue has the ball for the third time in the first quarter, and we've got 8:25 to go. First quarterback with all those great quarterbacks at Purdue that never passed better than 3,000 yards in the season. And there have been some dandies.
Purdue really needs to establish their game that has brought them this far to the bowl game, to start throwing the ball, not try. They try to do too much to test the corners and all those things and strategies, but they need to do what Jim Everett does best, and that's throw the ball downfield, read the coverage, and then take what they give him.
Rodney Carter got 1 yard in the last play. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Looks right. Fires it straight across the middle, incomplete up at the 28-yard line. Marty Scott, the intended receiver, and things have not gone well for Purdue early on. Everett is 0 for 4 with 1 interception.
Everett was probably, in a year of the quarterback in college football, he was probably the best kept secret, even though he led the Big Ten in total offense. And so they come down to the bowl game, he's getting all the exposure, all the attention, and the coaches are a little bit concerned that maybe that change is a little too dramatic. He's going to be a great quarterback next year, as he is this year, but the pressure's been a little bit something he's not had to face all season.
We see the shotgun first time this afternoon. That was all arm. There was no body to that throw. Intended for Steve Griffin and incomplete. Go ahead, Steve.
The name of the game is pass protection, and there were people all around Jim Everett. That confused you. Watch David Bond, number 41, the nose guard. He's playing off, working on Jerry Boat, number 65. Let's watch the tie-up. You've got to protect your quarterback. Guys are spinning. Keep him out in front. That way, move your body, Jerry Boat. That's good pass protection by the center.
With 7:39 to go first quarter, Bruce Thornton on to punt for the 2nd time. He kicked one of 36 yards. Happy birthday, young man. And Ray Daly, who has been a star early on, is back to return the punt. He also had the interception which set up the first touchdown. Good kick by Thornton. Daly from the 35. Good return by Ray Daly. A 49-yard kick. Daly counterpunched it 12 yards. Virginia leads 7-0.
You know what it's like during the holidays.
Next Saturday on a special edition of Sports Saturday, the East West Shrine Game, Palo Alto, California. Steve Davis will be out there for that one. And among those who will participate is Bob Olderman, the left tackle, or left guard rather, of the Virginia Cavaliers, number 79. We'll have fun doing that.
It's a lot of fun. I think we're going to have a staff of announcers out there. We're going to have a lot of fun.
Mikowski gives it off short to Steve Morse. And it's a pickup of about 3. Morse with 529 yards this year from 8 Mile, Alabama. You know where that is?
I've not been to 8 Mile, Alabama.
You turned left at 7 Mile, didn't you? It's just outside of Mobile.
I think we better get out of that one.
2nd down, 7. Mikowski looks deep, keeps it himself. Jason Houston makes the tackle, but it's close for a first down. Number 57. On Don Mikowski, the sophomore from Depew, New York.
You got to like Mikowski. I mean, he just puts so much pressure on the defense. He's not doesn't have the fluid movement of a Doug Flutie, but just the ability, the dimension to roll, stretch that defense, make those receivers have a chance to go and do something for him. He does it very well, and he made a good game.
1st and 10, play fake, he'll throw. That might be picked off. It is. Kennedy Wilson. That's his 2nd interception this year. And the turnovers are now 1 and 1.
Purdue coaches really felt like that Kennedy Wilson, this was a game suited for his talents. He's a real headhunter. He's really alert in the run support. This time he attacks. He takes the chance, the risk, the good one-arm grab, and makes the catch on the receiver. Then he shows a little fluid ability to run the ball.
They were going deep for the fleet freshman John Ford. This will be the 4th possession for Purdue, and they've had the ball all of 2 minutes and 7 seconds. trail 7-0 as Jim Everett drops back to throw. Across the middle, caught. Bruce King, the fullback. First down out near the 48-yard line. In any way, after that 13-yard gain, Steve, in any way is their offensive scheme comparable to the much publicized 49er offense where you control the ball with the pass?
Well, that's exactly what they want to do. And, of course, that's the most enviable offensive style in the country. You know, complete the pass, don't get sacked is the Bill Walsh style of play, and that's exactly what you want to do. And that's where Jim Everett's best, when he's able to control the ball game by picking and choosing what's available in the field.
That was the first Purdue first down. It comes with 5:43 to go first quarter. Jeff Price, first down at the 39. Senior from Newport News, Virginia, his 16th catch of the year.
Came out of Coffeyville Junior College, 4.6 speed, the best speed, soft hands. They really like him the way he does. He comes to the open area. Coverage is soft. Lester Lyles was not in position to make the play, number 26, and Price makes the catch.
He alternates with Rick Bruner at that wideout position. It's a second first down for Purdue. 7-0 Virginia lead. Draw play. King fights for yards and gets to the 35-yard line. Leon Burtnett, 7 different assistant jobs in 13 years. That's really the path a lot of head coaches have to take, Steve.
And he has paid his dues. He was on Jim Young's staff at Purdue and then got the head job. You know, the coaches, if you contrast them, they're so different. Leon openly is more gregarious and a little bit more open about everything. Welsh, more conservative, but he's a very fascinating, smart football coach.
From Meade, Kansas, 2nd and 6, Everett to throw. Contact. Must have been ruled incidental. Marty Scott was the intended receiver. I don't think Leon thought it was incidental at all. Bob Sweeney was defending. There's Jim Everett from Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was, in addition to being the defensive and offensive all-state quarterback in New Mexico, captain of his golf team.
He is a talented athlete. I think that what's helped him be a good quarterback. Last year he was behind Scott Campbell. Campbell's more of a running type quarterback, and it forced him in practice to be a little bit more of a runner, to get out of the pocket, so it's helped him as a passer.
On the shotgun on 3rd and 6. One out. Incomplete, it'll be 4th down. Intended for King, but not quite enough mustard on it to get it there. And that brings up a 4th and 6 from the 35-yard line.
The secondary play, Virginia felt like they've got to disguise the coverages. Let's look at what they're doing in the secondary. They don't show blitz. They drop people. They're all dropping back. It's a 3-deep basic coverage, all linebackers underneath, trying to really give Everett a lot of different pictures, dropping in the right areas and cover the zones and picking up the back out of the backfield.
Leon Burtnett says no to the field goal, which would have been an attempt from 53 yards. He'll go for it on 4th and 6. As a man, Marty Scott with a first down at the 15-yard line.
They've said about Marty Scott, he backed up Cliff Benson, who was an outstanding tight end last year. Here's Everett showing his ability outside. Scott gets behind the linebackers, takes a good lick right there by Ryan Jackson, number 3, and goes right up on field. They really feel like, here's the secondary. Watch Scott, he's coming from his tight end position, a little hesitation delay. There's an open area, and just sits right into it at a 45-degree angle for the catch.
On 4th and 6, a 1st and 1. Now the draw play. Rodney Carter to the 13-yard line. Interesting, Marty Scott is not the biggest tight end in the world. He's only 6'1", 200 pounds. And he was playing behind a really fine one in Cliff Benson, who plays now here in Atlanta.
What he did to make up for this lack of size, he's so strong. He's one of the strongest football players on the team as we look at Jim Everett. I really like what they're doing now. They're back a little bit more comfortable, letting Jim Everett read what the secondary's doing to him, not trying to overreact. You know, these coaches, the strategy, you always come into the ball game trying to do certain things. After a while, the first couple of series, you junk that and go back to the things that got you to the ball game.
2nd down and 8, 7-0 Virginia leads, 3.5 to go in the first quarter. Everett into the trap. Carter with the catch near the 7-yard line. Tackle is made by Lester Lyles, who was an all-everything for Virginia in the defensive secondary. Rodney Carter with 247 yards this season on catches, that is. Junior from Elizabeth, New Jersey. Everett has improved the quality of his play on this drive.
Really has. Of course, it's very difficult to figure out what they're going to call in this position because they can really just run a third down and short run about anything in their offense in their controlled passing games.
Blitz is coming from Virginia. Play fake by Everett. Can't find King. It'll be fourth down. Now they're well within field goal range, and Leon Burtnett has to make a decision whether or not to call on Mike Rendina. And I rather expect he will. Rendina started his collegiate career at Florida State. Transferred, sat out a year. He is 13 of 22 this season. And manages to slide it inside the right upright. So Purdue is on the board. They have to settle for 3, but it's by far their most impressive performance in the first quarter. And it all began with the Kennedy Wilson pass interception on Don Mikowski. Rendina good now on his 14th field goal this year. That was really a much more impressive offensive get-together by Purdue than we have seen so far.
Well, I think they probably were a little bit rattled by the fact that Virginia was able to force some things and to take the ball down and score. I think that's probably a little bit surprised. So the coaches have to come back, get their heads together, and try to go do the things that brought them to this point. And they've really got the kind of offense and the passing attack that lends itself to being able to keep your cool, controlled passing attack. 10 plays, 59 yards, 3 minutes, a little over 3 minutes to get there.
And the key play was a 4th down and 6 pass from Jim Everett to his tight end Marty Scott that gave them new life at the 15-yard line, from which point they did have to settle for the field goal, but they got that.
One of the things that made that drive more impressive, Vern, is the fact that they controlled first and second downs. They didn't get into a position where they had obvious passing situation on a second down play, and that's the Bill Walsh style or the Leon Burtnett style on offense.
This will, oh, the onside kick. Purdue is celebrating. At first, one official signaled Virginia ball, but now he turns and says Purdue ball. How about that? I was all set to say that Virginia was going to have their worst field position because of the kickoff. Now they're saying it is Virginia's ball.
Well, I would think we have seen
we'll have a little argument here. We'll also have an explanation.
We have a recovery by the kicking team on a short kick. It'll be first down this way.
All right.
I don't think there was any doubt that it was Purdue's football.
And it certainly traveled 10 yards. However, there is some debate that would like to be continued from the Virginia assistant coaches. Now George is kind of casual about it. He's not terribly upset. And here you go. Onside kick recovered by Purdue. Screenplay. Ray Wallace. His 16th reception of the season. He will alternate with Rodney Carter. As a matter of fact, Wallace has started 5 games this year. And there's a player down for Virginia. That is Lester Lyles, and they can ill afford to lose him.
Success in the passing game will cause a defense to react. Well, we've got to go make a big play. They kind of had an embarrassment, almost a turnover-like play on the onside kick. So now Virginia says, we've got to go hard charge. We've got to go make a play. Go put pressure on Jim Everett. And so when you do that, now you can throw those screen passes and those little draw-type plays, and that makes a difference, and that's what's happening. Now they put the pressure on Virginia. They're trying to get out of their character, their defense, how to stunt, do things that are really not part of their fundamental style of play, and so Everett's just being able to pick them apart.
He's 2nd down and 1. Jim Everett misfired on his first 4 passes. He has hit 5 of his last 9. has the first down. It would appear inside the 38-yard line. Ron Matt has made the tackle, number 98. But they'll move the chain. That's a fairly good-sized offensive line that they're operating behind. You've got Electon at 267, Jamad at 245, Jerry Both 233, Drenth is at 271, Isbell at 275. That's a fairly typical Big Ten offensive line.
An excellent quick side.
On first down, the tight end was the fullback King open at the 23-yard line. Russ Swan, number 93, finally caught up to make the tackle.
Here's what Everett is doing to Virginia. He's being able now to do his thing, his game. Drop back, good pass protection. Look the whole field over. He's 6'5", so he can pick out who he wants to. He finds Bruce King splitting the linebacker Swan and McDaniel right across the middle. And it really is Jim Everett's game because he's so big. 6'5", he's a Bernie Kosar top player. He can see the whole field.
Another first down play coming with 1:58 to go first quarter. Deep left corner, man is there, touchdown. Steve Griffin.
Griffin, number 2, is working on the cornerback, Ray Daly. Everett lays it up. Daly had him covered initially, and then he kind of fell back a little bit as the ball was thrown perfectly. Everett, sensing how close Daly was, threw it to the back corner, realizing there's no way to make an interception, and give his receiver Griffin a chance to make the catch.
Griffin led the club with 60 catches coming in regular season. That is his 5th touchdown catch, and the extra point is almost blocked. But it's through and good. And with the utilization of the surprise tactic, the onside kick, Purdue recovers, and Griffin makes the touchdown catch at the end of a 49-yard drive.
Here's the isolation. You've got to sense what Everett sees. Daly's got him covered. He's on him pretty good. But now Everett senses that he's going to get behind him, so he throws the ball away where Daly cannot get to it at all and makes the catch.
Is that a case of the quarterback, Steve, calling on the receiver to go ahead and adjust to the route?
Exactly. Perfect play by Everett to just be able to lead him right where the open area is. And Griffin, they've worked together all season long, knew exactly what he was doing.
Watch the adjustment again from ground level.
This is what Everett's seeing. There's Daly, number 2, making the break, reading Everett's eyes. Now watch the soft touch, up and over, right in the corner. There's no way he's going to make an interception in that position. Easy touch.
As a result of which, Purdue has the lead, 10-7 with 1:51 to go. There'll be no onside kick this time. Matter of fact, we get a delay of game call as it's out of bounds at the 7. Quanah Bullock, one of the freshmen for Virginia, was back there ready to return it. And Mike Rendina will have to kick it over. Virginia has had great field position so far. The point we were going to make before Purdue surprises with the onside kick is that given problematical situations here, Virginia will not have great field position. So far, they have started at the 40, the 45, and the 48. But out of that, they have managed only 7 points. Word, number 4, is back with Bullock.
You've got to like Jim Everett, the quarterback for Purdue. He's got the long arm, the strong arm, the touch, vision. He's smart. He's got good height. I really believe he'll be an excellent quarterback for professional football in a couple of years.
This will be Barry Word from the 15. He's got 4.4 speed, but he doesn't get a chance to utilize it then. And is down at the 35-yard line. 1:47 to go in the first quarter of play. Ray Daly intercepted a Jim Everett pass, and that led to an 11-yard touchdown run by Harold Petty to give Virginia the lead. Kennedy Wilson then intercepted Don Mikowski, and Purdue went down to a field goal by Rendina. Then they tried the onside kick, and 23 yards out, Everett and Steve Griffin to make it 10-7. To the 35-yard line. Barry Word is in the lineup. Has taken the place of Howard Petty and picks up about 3 yards. 6'2", 214 with 4.4 speed.
He is a world-class hurdler. He can get there very quickly.
Matter of fact, he hadn't participated in hurdles since high school until last spring and qualified for the Olympic trials and the NCAA outdoors. He's second down and 4. Mikowski fires it. Nick Merrick to the 35-yard line. He's a big target, Merrick is, at 6'5", 206. A senior who missed 5 games with a broken leg in his, a broken bone in his leg earlier this year.
Had 9 receptions in the Maryland game. He's just the coaches describe him as a clutch player. We've got someone down on the field right now.
That's a 28-yard gain from Mikowski to Merrick. And it's Rod Woodson, sophomore from Fort Wayne, Indiana, the injured Purdue player. They don't want to lose him, a first-team All-Big Ten defensive back.
Merrick gets a little bit of a mismatch this time. He's coming from his wide receiver position, and he's working on an outside linebacker, and he gets behind him, and so he just finds the open area. He doesn't have all that great speed, but he just catches the ball and has that ability to go up and do what it takes.
Woodson now is up and walking off with just a degree of assistance. And Corey Cooper has taken his place in the defensive secondary. Fred Strickland has also come in place of Tony Visco at defensive end. Derek Wimberly is in there. You saw him, number 98. First down, 10, Virginia. The pitch to Barry Word. Antonio Rice has come in at fullback, number 47. He supplies the lead block, but Word can't really turn the corner. We'll go back to the point you were doing in comparing the two running backs. Word says he thinks he's getting better at cutting upfield, but it's still not his strong suit. Yeah,
well, because he's got all that speed, very seldom do you find a young man that has the tremendous speed and the finesse running style. He's a straight line runner right now. It's Petty who has a little bit more touch and feel as the runner, and that's why he starts. But I tell you, Word in the right conditions is deadly.
Option play, whoops. Almost picked off, and then the rebound, Mikowski got it back. And Kennedy Wilson was looking at nothing but green grass between himself and 6 points if he had been able to control the ball.
I've always felt like in a position like that, when you see the quarterback pitch the ball too hard, in that time where it's not a nice soft pitch where the back can catch the ball, that's a little bit of frustration coming out, a little bit of disappointment. Things aren't going well, and he's trying to make something happen, and he's slinging the ball and not being as careful.
Saw that Virginia had lost only 8 fumbles all year. Purdue has lost only 6 all year. As a man tipped away, incomplete, and the flag is down. 2 flags are down. Now, who will win this battle of words? No indication yet as to whether the flag is against Purdue or Virginia. Virginia seems content that they're going to get the penalty.
Take it back and then step off 15. I don't think there was any doubt that it was.
No.
Was it Woodson?
Here's the call.
Interference, defense, automatic first down.
3rd penalty against Purdue. Let's see if it was Woodson. John Ford is the intended receiver.
ACC Rookie of the Year, an outstanding receiver, excellent student. Let's see, who's all over him?
No. Don Anderson. It was Don Anderson, number 15, instead of Woodson, who had gone to the bench with the injury. That's the end of the first quarter. Purdue has the lead, but Virginia threatens. It's 10-7. We're back for the second quarter from Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, the 17th annual Peach Bowl. Vern Lundquist and Steve Davis. I know you were up at a very early hour this morning looking at films, and you were impressed by Virginia during that film study.
Well, I came into the ball game thinking that maybe it was going to be a ball game all Purdue, but I really like Mikowski. I think he's a very good quarterback, and watching the Maryland game, I was very impressed, and I told you so before we came out to the ballpark.
It'll be first down and 10. Mikowski with the rollout. In a little bit of trouble, but he dances away, can't find anybody open, tucks it and runs and picks up 2. Bob Ziltz, number 71, in at right defensive tackle. made the stop. First quarter stats fairly even.
What it really shows is the balance of Virginia in terms of what they like to do. That's their style of play. And it shows the commitment that Purdue has to the passing game. The 2 turnovers. Just about the kind of game that you would expect from everything you've read and watched. And I'm just a little bit surprised that Purdue has not been able to muster a little bit more running attack than what they've shown.
It'll be 2nd down and 9 from the 19. That's Zemmerlink, who starts in motion and comes back. Gino Zemmerlink. Word up the middle, has the great speed, can't break the tackle, but still gets inside the 10.
When you're an option and sweep team, so much you're worried about the perimeters. You're worried about what they're going to do on the outside, coming down the line of scrimmage. And so you're a little bit vulnerable inside. They're thinking outside. He cuts it back right up the middle, and there's no one there. Excellent blocking by Olderman, number 79, and Guerin, the center, number 52, to free Word right up the middle. He
is the 3rd of 3 Word brothers to play at Virginia. Corwin and Kenny preceded him, and inevitably someone has referred to him as the last Word.
The last.
To the 5. Jason Houston, who has been very active in the linebacker spot, number 57 for Purdue, made the tackle.
There's a little bit of the emergence of Barry Word, the finesse runner. We talked about being just a straight line. Watch him make this cut. Watch him right here. He'll stop. He sees the play right there. That's Houston on the block, and he just jukes him and goes to his left and makes a little bit more yardage. Maybe we're seeing the maturity of a running back here.
4 carries for 22 yards. 2nd down from the 6. Caught up around the shoulder pads by Kevin Sumlin, a former walk-on linebacker for Purdue, number 44. You know, physically and in terms of what we've seen in the first quarter, he does, and I mean this in the truest sense, he reminds me a little bit of you at Oklahoma.
Well, thank you.
I said that because you told me he reminded you himself of you, right?
Well, and as I said coming out of the car, you know, I don't want to over-compliment Don Mikowski, but no, he is a very talented quarterback. He makes the right decisions. They were not going to pitch the ball. It was a run from the very beginning, and he cuts up field for the game.
I don't see Joe Washington in that Virginia backfield, though. It's good. Zemmerlink for 6. Touchdown, Virginia. Cavaliers are back on top early in the second quarter. 12:22 to go in the first half. Kenny Stadlin will try and make it a 14-10 game. Scott Sequels is the holder, the backup quarterback. The kick is good.
The surgeon-like play calling of George Welsh in this play. It's a sweep. They're thinking sweep, play action, good fake by Mikowski. The quarterback rolls. There's Zemmerlink all wide open by himself.
That is the go-ahead touchdown. Time is out.
You get a sense of the pressure that the defense is sensing outside. They're thinking in their minds, I've got to go outside. Watch them as they make the fakes outside. Now watch everyone almost have to reverse pivot to get in position to make the play on Zemmerlink, and they're not there. Good play calling by George Welsh. That's his style.
69 yards and 9 plays coming up next Sunday. It all begins with the NFL today, the NFC Championship game between the Bears and the 49ers. It begins at 3:30 Eastern Time. Then in Chicago, they're saying, how about them Bears? Wallace knocked out of bounds by Ryan Jackson, number 3, a freshman cornerback. And I'll tell you what, having watched that Chicago-Washington game yesterday, the defensive unit of Chicago is quite impressive.
Boy, I tell you, they do so many things, and they're so physical. It just seems like they've got a relief plan. If plan A doesn't work, plan B comes into effect. And I think that's going to be a great football game. I like Chicago.
I know this.
Tough place to go win a ball game. I love Chicago.
The 49ers will know they've been in a football game. Everett, pass complete near the 29-yard line. Caught by his tight end again, Marty Scott, who took a pretty good pop-up near the helmet. Scott, a junior from Waterford, Michigan. At one point in high school, he had 6 touchdowns and 369 yards in one game. That would have been a career for receptions at OU.
Exactly.
And he'll get a rest now as Jeff Price has taken his spot in the lineup. Second and 5, the handoff. Rodney Clutter back in the lineup, gets to the 32-yard line. Tackle made by Lester Lyles, number 26, who was shaken up for just a moment back in the first quarter of play. Carter with 416 yards. You won't see any gaudy statistics for these running backs from Purdue.
No, you really will not see any type of statistics, but I tell you, they are very vital to the success of Jim Everett, and they have made the difference because they've taken heat off of him. In the games that they've struggled with, it's when they've been balanced and when the running attack has been has contributed to the overall plan.
Everett for Gifford, incomplete. And Purdue is still unsuccessful on third down conversions. They are now 0 of 5 in the game. They'll be forced to punt.
Their drives are stalling when they do not have a successful first down play, and it seems like it's even more emphasized in this particular ball game.
Brian Thornton with previous punts of 36 and 47, and Ray Daly will return it. And again, the Cavaliers should come out of this in pretty good shape. Daly waits at the 32. At the Players' Banquet the other night, Leon Burton made a special point about the contribution of Brian Thornton, about how he had walked on as a punter for 4 years and came back in this his 5th and final season. And this is a great kick. Daly all the way back to the 16 and in some difficulty. Flags are down. That was a 52-yard kick. And we'll see what the infraction is. Clipping, Virginia. This will be their worst field position of the game.
One of the things that Leon Burtonette was concerned about, because in bowl preparation, oftentimes you kind of overlook the kicking game and that particular phase of the game. And with a 52-yard punt and doing the right things, I know he was a little bit concerned about it. You know, he had an interesting approach to bowl preparation. Let's get the call. Whatever the call was.
It was in there somewhere.
It was there. But the point is that he came down. You get 16 practices for a bowl. So he treated it just like spring practice, another getting ready for the future of 1985. And they took practice very serious, and they went and hit people in practice.
Virginia will start from the 7-yard line. I think.
Having a little bit of trouble getting started.
Yeah. Gotten a little herky-jerky here all of a sudden. Well, there's a good contingent of fans down from West Lafayette, Indiana, as well as a large bunch from Virginia. Cavaliers with their first bowl appearance ever. They become the final NCAA Division I team to make a bowl appearance. Every other Division I school, with the exception of Virginia, until this year had made one. Here's Harold Petty back in the lineup. Out near the 16-yard line. Bob Ziltz, number 71, made the tackle. Interesting when you look at Virginia's situation. Last year, they won their first 4 games, lost 5 of their last 7, including a 48-0 defeat to end the season. Then they open against Clemson, Steve, and they get demolished 55-zip. From having been blanked and given up 48 points and 55 points, they come back and go 7-0-2 before losing to Maryland.
Tremendous compliment to George Welch and what he's done. They really turned it around. And you realize 3 winning seasons in 30 years. I mean, they've been the doormat of the ACC and probably one of the worst teams, but it's a tremendous contribution that Welch has made to this program.
Mikowski will go deep, and Ford is open. Incomplete. John Ford, not that widely recruited. He's from Belgrade, Florida, and he's a speedster. He's got terrific speed. As a matter of fact, there's a great story was circulating earlier how he learned to improve his speed chasing muck rabbits.
Yeah, chasing rabbits that ran in the mud down in the Everglade area there. Perfect throw, right where it had to be. I tell you, Mikowski, you've got to be impressed with the way that he throws the ball, even though he's more of an option-type thrower, threw it right where it had to be for John Ford.
The question has been raised, what is a muck rabbit? Well, John Ford said it's faster than a cottontail, and it's a special kind of rabbit that hung around the sugarcane fields in the outskirts of Lake Okeechobee in Florida. And during the fall, they would burn the sugarcane fields, and Ford and his buddies would go out and chase the muck rabbits. Now, I must tell you, I'd never heard of a muck rabbit until this week either.
I don't want to hear about it again.
In my understanding of animals, a rabbit was a rabbit was a rabbit.
The point is, it made him much quicker athlete.
Fair catch. And Purdue will get the ball back. Mercifully, there will be a timeout called while we figure out what's going on after that 36-yard kick. NCAA basketball returns to CBS next Saturday. Most of you around the country will see North Carolina State against Kentucky. That begins at 1 o'clock Eastern time, or on the West Coast. Steve Grody and I will be in Seattle for the Oregon State-Washington Husky basketball game. And then live at 3 o'clock Eastern time, Steve Davis will be at the East-West Shrine game in Palo Alto, California. That is always a great encounter, raising funds for a fine outfit. Rushing yardage so far, Purdue 12. And they will not get any on this play as the pass is hit and intercepted. Lester Lyles has it for Virginia. And he is immediately dropped at the 44-yard line. It has been said of Lester Lyles, he is such a complete football player. He could play any of 8 defensive positions, linebacker, defensive end, or any of the 4 defensive backfield savants.
The coaches say that he's the best physical athlete on the team. He didn't have an intense high school program. The ball was off the receiver. Lyles was in the right spot playing center field and was able to make the catch. Came from a program in Washington, D.C. at high school there that just was not very disciplined. And when he came in, a lot of things had to change in his temperament and his technique, but he has developed into an outstanding player, a George Welsh-type player.
Matter of fact, he was suspended for 3 games his sophomore season because of missing practices and meetings, but has come back to be a standout for the Cavaliers. Here's Harold Petty fighting for yardage near the midfield stripe. He gets stopped at the 49-yard line by Chris Dishman, number 19. Glad to see your relatives made the trip down with you. Fraternity brothers?
I was a member of Chi Kappa Jock. Know you.
Harold Petty with 38 yards on 8 carries and 1 touchdown. It'll be 2nd down and 5 from the 50. Fullback Steve Morse fights for yards. Gets near the 46. Jason Houston, who's got about 7 or 8 tackles, made the stop again. This, as we said, is the 4th or the 5th bowl appearance for Purdue, the first since 1980. They have made 1 previous appearance here in the Peach Bowl, and they have never lost in bowl play. 3rd down, about a yard. Mikowski now 3 of 7, and Virginia will now be 3 of 6 on 3rd down conversions.
We keep talking about the type of player that plays for George Welsh. Of course, most people know about his career that he had at Navy, an outstanding coach, both outstanding player and coach, and he really is a no-nonsense guy, very intelligent, a diplomat, militaristic in his style with his players, not real close to his players. His assistants are the close ones. He's in control. They do not have a defensive or offensive coordinator. He calls the plays. He could go and coach any position on the field if he had to. He knows what's going on.
Semmerling starts in motion. It's 1st down. Here's the counter option. Petty's in trouble. And does not get back to the line of scrimmage as Tony Visco made the tackle.
What's amazing about that, the play got in trouble, but as you look at the end of the play, the entire 11 of Purdue, Vern, were on this side of the field. Watch what happens. It's kind of a whirly-bird option. North Carolina State used to run it when Lou Holtz was up at North Carolina State. Watch the pursuit now. Petty's in trouble. I mean, Petty, this is the situation you go upfield. Now, at the end of the play, all 11 are right there. That's important in terms of defense for Purdue.
2nd down and 12. Mikowski will throw it. And it is caught at the 40-yard line as Nick Merrick makes the tackle. We mentioned that Virginia is the last team in Division I NCAA to make a bowl appearance. And, of course, George Welsh was the head coach at Navy for 9 years. Well, West Point, Army made its first bowl appearance this year, went to the Cherry Bowl and defeated Michigan State.
Jim Young did a good job, got back involved in coaching and out of the administrative area of college football. And, you know, it really is a credit. I'm so happy to see our military schools do so much better.
Air Force Academy also went to a bowl. And won. Into the block. Morris, the fullback, has a blocker, doesn't use him, and is knocked down at the 35-yard line where it'll be 4th down.
I tell you, the difference between Mikowski and Steve Davis is the fact this kid has a touch on the ball. He can really throw it. He gives them more of a versatility in running their offense. Watch this. He's looking downfield. It's a screen play. Good line surge. Everybody's out where they've got to be. Good blockers. Look there, Mike Battle, 58, and they're doing the things. In fact, he probably should have waited just a little bit more and let those blockers set their men up.
It'll be 4th down and 1, and Virginia will go for it. From the 35. They lead it 14-10. The option play, Mikowski will throw. Looks deep for Ford, and Ford was there, but the pass is late and is intercepted and dropped. Ford had a step on Chris Dishman, and Mikowski couldn't get it to him.
A great play by Chris Dishman, number 19. He's single coverage. This is the only receiver going out into the secondary. Play action pass, one of the most dangerous passes you can throw in an option type game. And Dishman cuts right in front. He's got equal opportunity. I think that was as fair as it could be. Excellent play, single man coverage.
Actually, they're better off that Dishman didn't catch it. They get the ball back to the 35. A holiday tradition returns on CBS tonight, the 6th annual Happy New Year America celebration. Broadcast live from 3 locations around the country. Andy Williams will host this spectacular live from New York, where Gladys Knight and the Pips will entertain. At Billy Bob's in Fort Worth, there'll be the Charlie Daniels Band and Louise Mandrell. And from Florida, Kool and the Gang and Shaka Khan. That's tonight, 11:30 Eastern. Happy New Year, America. And those of you watching in Canada as well. First down and 10, Purdue, with 5:43 to go in the first half. Everett is 8 of 18 for 106 yards. He's been intercepted twice already. Little dipsy doodle. Bruce King with the carry, and he pile drives it all the way up to the 45-yard line. King, a senior from Dale, Indiana. 387 yards this season. Hasn't scored on the ground, but he does have 3 touchdowns catching the football. Second down, less than a yard. 14-10. Virginia leads. 5:07 to go first half. King gets the handoff, and that'll move the chain. Charlie McDaniel, number 30, made the stop. Now we're at an even 5 minutes remaining in the first half. 14-10, Virginia. First and 10, Purdue. Jim Everett out of the shotgun. Safety blitz is coming. Low snap. Everett has to just get rid of it, and he wings it out left, incomplete.
He picked it up. His receiver was not able to. Of course, you've got to unload the ball very quick. He saw the blitz coming. Unfortunately, the receiver was not quite ready for that type of timing.
Okay, let's name the other 5 teams. Got Ohio State,
Wisconsin,
Michigan, Wisconsin, Michigan State.
You're naming more than I am.
Iowa. How about Hayden Fry and Purdue? How about Hayden Fry's win over Texas?
How about Texas lost?
Cool.
Yeah, that's the way to look at it.
You and I saw Chuck Long here 2 years ago. We weren't surprised by the performance he put on. How about Rodney Carter to the 36-yard line? Biggest run of the first half for the Boilermakers of Purdue, the junior from Elizabeth, New Jersey.
I like Carter. He's a multi-talented athlete. He played baseball at Purdue. It kind of limited his opportunities. He went through a spring practice as a Boilermaker left fielder, very talented player. Watch him use his speed and his versatility. I mean, he's just, you know, they get some good blocks. There's power. When you lose that lineman in front of you, your protection up front, that determines what kind of back you are when you explode and make something happen. I mean, he assaults people.
I'll tell you, I had a sense of deja vu there. It looked like Roger Staubach handing out for Preston Pearson. Here's Everett. Wings it to Carter, and it's off his shoulder pads. Behind him just a tinge, and incomplete.
That was probably the poorest pass that Everett has thrown, because what happened, he throws off the back of his heels. He knows he's under pressure. He didn't set in there and throw the ball on strike and put some authority on the pass, and that's why it went as an errant pass, and Carter was unable to handle the ball.
Anybody he reminds you of, physical stature?
Oh, gosh.
How about Sonny Gibbs at TCU?
I was 9 years old when Sonny Gibbs played at TCU, and I didn't know. I'm not going to say what I didn't know. But
Sonny Gibbs was a 6'7" quarterback at TCU back in the early 60s. Russ Swan, number 93, makes the tackle on Bruce King. Matter of fact, Tommy Nobis, who starred at the University of Texas and here at Atlanta, came by before the game, and I told Tommy that Steve had no memory of Sonny Gibbs, and he just did a shame on you.
Oh, I know, but that's, you know, as we look at Jim Everett and the Purdue people, one of the things, Everett is a senior eligibility, senior in terms of school academically, but he's a junior. He got an extra year, so he's going to be back next year, and really will be one of the top quarterbacks in the country.
Third down now. 3rd and 6 as Purdue tries to regain the lead. But first down, Marty Scott to the 18-yard line. Charlie McDaniel makes the stop, number 30. They do a nice job of utilizing the tight end.
They really do. They're using the back and the tight end to go and assault the middle, where McDaniel and Swan are the two linebackers. Let's watch Everett as he drops back. There's a cross stun inside by Kilgannon, and Scott is right behind the linebackers. They have vacated the area, and Scott's able to come up with a catch.
First down and 10 at the 19. The clock shows 3:29 remaining in the first half. It's a 14-10 Virginia lead with Purdue knocking on the door. Audible by Everett at the line. It's down to the 17-yard line. Rodney Carter. Ron Mattis, number 98, made the stop. Mattis is 6'7", 286. And they did not think he would be eligible, or available, not eligible, but available to play today because of that broken left hand. But he has started and played throughout. Russ Swan, number 93. Daniel, number 30. Everett, left side. There's the move, that's 6. Jeff Price again, second touchdown in the first half. It was a 17-yard touchdown pass. Jim Everett to Jeff Price. Second time they have connected, and Purdue is back on top. Rendina's kick is up and good.
You've got to like the big league arm of Jim Everett, but also the big league mind, because he's got a blitz. He knows he's got to unload rather quick. He goes to Jeff Price, who's one-on-one with Frazier, the cornerback, number 36, and he's just able to go right into the end zone for the 17-yard touchdown. Here it is again. Everett senses the pressure from outside. The blitz, there's McDaniel, and then they also had the outside people coming in, and so Frazier's got to go make the play. He's got to go get right on top of him. It's 17-14. Charles McDaniel, number 30, is in the circle, and then also to the right of your screen, Lester Lyles will come in, and that's the blitz that Jim Everett sees. There they come. There's Lyles. 1, 2, 3, throw quickly. One-on-one coverage. Touchdown.
Jeff Price, who was not all that productive in regular season play compared to what he had accomplished a year ago. He had 40 catches in 1983, only 15 this season in an alternating role with Rick Bruner, but 2 touchdowns this afternoon. This is Quanah Bullock, number 14, a freshman. To the 16-yard line. Keep in mind that Virginia was going for yet one more score. They had a 4th down and 1 at the Purdue 35. They were unsuccessful. And then in the turnaround, Purdue went 65 yards in 9 plays, took 3-11, and got the touchdown, Everett to Price. Coming up at halftime, a Cotton Bowl preview. We'll get Lindsey Nelson's view of that game coming up tomorrow as Lindsey's getting ready to broadcast his 25th consecutive Cotton Bowl. a 1985 CBS Sports preview, first half highlights, and then Vicki McClure, who made such a memory for all of us at the Olympic Games, will be here to present Reach Out and Touch Someone. Barry Word to the 28-yard line. We've got 2:20 to go in the first half. That's an 11-yard gain for Word. By his own admission, he really hasn't had the kind of a career he had wanted at Virginia, Steve, until this year, and he's come on with 603 yards this year. When you combine the efforts of Petty and Word, that's 1,400-plus yards between them. They have really done a good job. I like the things that they're doing, Virginia, and it really, this is a Cinderella story, Vern, if there ever is one in college football. They're much like South Carolina, TCU, and other teams across the country. Mikowski goes deep, picked off. It was intended for Zetterlink. Down the sideline, Kennedy Wilson gets his second interception of the game. He did not step out of bounds, I don't believe. Kennedy Wilson, a junior from Chicago. Here is Don Mikowski showing the fact that he's still a sophomore. This is a dangerous pass. You've got to make sure that your receiver's got a chance. He threw it too short. He was trying to go to Zimmerlink. It was too short in terms of where it was going. He did not give his receiver a chance. It was a mistake, and the coaches coming into the ball game felt like that he had gotten out of that kind of attitude or that pressure type throwing position. Maybe because he's behind, he felt the need to go try to force the ball. You can't take on more pressure. Stay within your offense. Chris Dishman shaken up on the play, number 19. He's on the bench. Mikowski had interception problems in midseason, but he had been only intercepted one time in the last 5 games. Until this afternoon, he's now been intercepted twice, and Wilson has them both. Ray Wallace shoved backwards at the 23-yard line by David Bond, the 5th-year senior nose guard. Turnover comparison, 83, they were minus 17th, and this year plus 9. That helps. The ninth ranking is about where they were picked to finish in the Big Ten. Of course, Virginia was much the same in terms of their story, and both these teams, they really represent turnarounds, and they've done it a little bit differently, but it's interesting how far they've come in so short a time. See how much time is left on the clock. Everett, off-balance throw to Price. Has to be very gratifying to Jeff Price to find himself being used this much today. 2 touchdowns, that's his 3rd catch, and a gain of 11 yards. With 1:16, the clock is stopped from the out-of-bounds play. Purdue has all 3 timeouts left. Price now 3 catches for 42 yards. 1st and 10 from the 11. Play fake. Everett out of a potential tackle, drills it in the end zone, caught, touchdown. Ron Mattis all but had him wrapped up. And Scott gets 6. Through and had both arms around Jim Everett. Somehow Everett got out of the tackle and found Scott in the end zone. Rendina's kick is good. And all of a sudden, it's a 10-point Purdue lead. The strategy coming into the ball game was try to upset the tempo of Jim Everett, try to do different things. Ron Mattis is the pass rusher. They need him. He's got that broken left arm. He gets the pressure, but he doesn't wrap him up, and Mattis is not able to do the job, and he's able to throw the ball to Scott for the end zone. Watch it one more time. Scott is the tight end. Gets away, their effort gets away, and Scott gets behind the secondary away. He was in coverage, isolated with the linebacker. Actually, it was number 2 that came in to cover him, but was not able to stay on top of him. 3 touchdown passes for Jim Everett now, 2 to Price, 1 to Scott. That was a 25-yard drive in 3 plays after Kennedy Wilson's 2nd pass interception of the first half. Bob Sweeney was number 2. He was the safety on the play, and I think there was a little breakdown in the secondary because he probably should not have picked up Scott. It should have been a mismatch on someone else, but he was out of position, did not make the play. And within the last 44 seconds, we've had 2 Purdue touchdowns. They were trailing 14-10. They'll go in at halftime, apparently, leading by 10. Juana Bullock will take the touchback and come out to the 20-yard line.
Had a little bit of offense.
Ron Mikowski comes back on the field. Ron, I meant Don. And Virginia's got a first down at their own 20-yard line with 1:11 to go. Steve, they've got 2 timeouts now. Chris Dishman leaving the field, heading down to the locker room, and we'll get a report as quickly as we can. Because of the clock, do you alter your strategy here at all?
Well, you just don't want to make a mistake. That's the problem. You don't want to get in a position when you're in your -20 territory and now they've lost yardage. You don't want to make a mistake and go down in worse condition. You know, you go in with a 10-point deficit, not anything worse.
Barry Word loses 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 13 from the 17 or the 18-yard line and make it 2nd down and 12. 24-14. As Jeff Price caught the 17-yard touchdown pass, then Kennedy Wilson intercepted Mikowski, and Marty Scott caught a 12-yard touchdown pass. Word gets maybe a yard back, and that should be the final play of the first half. Leon Burtonette, at the age of 41, has to be pleased by what his team has done, having fallen behind 14-10. And then they come back with those 2 touchdowns inside of a minute to take a 10-point lead at halftime. George Welsh, I'm sure, will just preach about let's not make any turnovers.
George doesn't do a whole lot of preaching. He will go in, sit down with his coaches, spend the time, get the job done, analyze it, and then they'll get some sort of reaction, and they'll come back with the adjustments.
Halftime with our score, Purdue 24, Virginia 14. We'll return after this word from your local station.
Today's game is sponsored by U.S. Armed Forces. It's a great place to start. Cigna, whose companies provide insurance and financial services around the world. And by Safeguard, the combination of maximum deodorant soap protection and a rich, thick lather.
Back at halftime, Purdue with 2 touchdowns in the final 2 minutes and 22 seconds of the first half. A 10-point lead now over the Virginia Cavaliers as we get set for the second half. Vern Lundquist and Steve Davis here in Atlanta. And don't forget the Boston College-Houston game coming up tomorrow, the Cotton Bowl game with Lindsey Nelson, Pat Hayden, Ara Parsekian, and Pat O'Brien. And a cast of assorted friends and fellow employees tomorrow from a rather chilly Dallas, rather. There's George Welsh. 3rd year now as the head coach after 9 years as the head coach at his alma mater, the Naval Academy. And as you said, Steve, probably a very quiet lecture to his team in the locker room at the half.
George Welsh has a tremendous aptitude for football. He knows what's going on. I'm sure he's very analytical in his approach, and I'm sure that he's made the right adjustments. The problem, the unknown, the X factor in this ball game has been Jim Everett being able to really put him in a position that you're afraid to do anything if you rush. We saw in 1 touchdown to Price where they rushed, and he was able to take advantage of it in single coverage, and then you lay back, and then they're going to run with you because they're getting a lot of effort out of guys like Carter and Wallace and King. So he's got a tough job in the second half to cut the deficit down to less than 10 points as it is right now.
His team will get the ball to open the 3rd quarter. They will be going from right to left, and Mike Rendina is getting set to kick off. Juana Bullock and Barry Word. Word, number 4, goes to the right-hand side, and Bullock, the freshman, goes left. 3rd quarter underway. Word thought about it, but he'll take the touchback. And Virginia will begin from its own 20-yard line. They will open once again with Don Mikowski at quarterback. John Ford and Nick Merrick will be the wide receivers. Tight end is Brian Hitchcock, and up front the offensive line, Jim Dombrowski and Bob Olderman on the left side. The center is Harold Guerin, Mike Battle, and Scott Chapin at the right tackle. And Brian Hitchcock, the tight end, and the running back, Steve Morse and Howard Petty. Olderman and Dombrowski, huge hunks of beef, anchor that left-hand side. And they get set. 1st down and 10 from the 20. Harold Petty with blockers and gets a good block from John Ford, then fumbles it out of bounds, but the Cavaliers will retain possession. Not often you see the wide receiver shielding the way around the corner, but John Ford, number 17, did then for a 16-yard gain.
Let's watch it again. Just the inside isolation type play. He gets good blocks outside. Now he's going kind of horizontal on the field. Jumps upfield into the secondary.
Petty with 52 yards on 10 carries. First and 10, Virginia from their own 36. Option play. Toss is out. Almost intercepted for the third time. Kevin Sumlin, number 44, sophomore from Indianapolis, got his hand on the ball.
Purdue made one adjustment in the second half that I've noticed. They're moving people up. They're going with two deep people in Wilson and Woodson in the secondary and moving everyone else up on the line. So they're giving you basically a 9-man front, which is designed to take away, shut down the sweep or the option play.
It'll be second down and 10, Virginia, trailing 24-14. Petty bouncing off a tackle and into another. He picked up just 1 yard. And Dombrowski, number 73, getting into just a bit of a shoving match. Up front defensively for Purdue now, they go with that 5-2. They've got Fred Strickland, number 48, Melvin Minke, number 91, number 71, Bob Ziltz, Brad Horner is the nose guard, number 92, and Don Baldwin, number 98 at right end. The linebackers are Sumlin, 44, and Jason Houston, 57. Cornerbacks Don Anderson, number 15, Chris Dishman. We'll check and see if he's still in there. And the safeties, Rod Woodson, Kennedy Wilson. Out of trouble momentarily. Sidearm release and the pass incomplete. Nick Merrick looking for some kind of a flag, but doesn't get any satisfaction. And it'll be fourth down.
Mikowski is a very strong, physical young man at 6'2", 201. He had Melvin Minke, number 91, 243 pounds on him, but he shook him.
Here's the kick. Kevin Ferguson has it bounce at the 37 and goes out of bounds. A pretty good field position now for Purdue on their first possession of the third quarter. A 25-yard kick.
Did you ever notice that just when you think you see the whole...
Well, they went quickly on us, and Purdue on the first down play. Jim Everett back to pass, has it batted back in his face. It's an incomplete pass. It'll be second down and 10. Bert Lundquist and Steve Davis here at the Peach Bowl in Atlanta. It was a very close ball game until the final 2:22 of the first half, when Purdue struck suddenly for 2 touchdowns and a 10-point lead. Not to imply that it's not still a close ball game. But Virginia had the lead and were heading toward Purdue's goal line rather, when they were unsuccessful on a 4th and 1. Shotgun, good defensive play. Ron Mattis, number 98. Still playing with a cast on that left arm. How much does that hinder him?
Well, of course, the key is he's a senior player, and I think mentally he doesn't really care how it hinders him physically, because he wants to play. It's important for him to play. He is a rally leader. He's not an overly emotional type player, but the stability that he gives that front line and the younger players is what is important, and he's the guts of their defensive front.
Senior from Ringtown, Pennsylvania, broken left arm in the final regular season game. Third down and 13. 4-man rush. Everett dodges the potential rush, goes into double coverage. There's contact and no flag. Ryan Jackson, number 3, freshman, the 5th defensive back, was one of those who was deep, and he had excellent coverage.
Let's look right at the end of the play and see what happened. There's Price. He's working on number 3, Ryan Jackson, and Frazier. I don't think so. Their feet might have got a little bit mangled or mixed up a little bit together, but nothing of a penalty.
That's what they call
undeserving of a penalty.
Incidental contact.
That's right, incidental.
On the 4th down, Ray Daly getting to return the kick of Thornton. Doesn't get very far to the 28-yard line.
I thought Ray Daly had slipped into the twilight zone. I thought he maybe thought that we were going to go and have a fair catch.
Well, the beauty of instant replays, you can try the commercial again. Here we go.
Someday you've got to see it.
We're live from Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta on the final day of 1984, the 17th annual Peach Bowl between the Purdue Boilermakers and Virginia Cavaliers. I'm Vern Lundquist, along with former Oklahoma quarterback Steve Davis. Last time we worked together was here 1 year ago, matter of fact. And it's much nicer today, but it's always good to be back with you. First down and 10, Virginia. They trail 24-14. Harold Petty gets the give and a big hole to the 45-yard line. Rod Woodson saved the touchdown. A gain of 16 yards for Petty.
Again, what you like about Petty is the fact that he is such a straight line player. Going behind Olderman 79 and Dombrowski 73, gets a good block from Guerra in the center. And then this is what you do when you're a great back. You lose your protection and you go straight ahead forward and make additional yards.
He'll get the handoff again. This time it's a little tougher going. That's good for a gain of 9 feet. It'll be second down and 7. Petty had to miss one season during his career. He was out in 1982 with mononucleosis. 72 yards today, including a touchdown run of 11 yards. That was the first touchdown of the day. And it gave Virginia a temporary 7-0 lead. They then led 7-3, fell behind 10-7. Virginia went on top 14-10. And now trails 24-14. And here's the reverse to John Ford. Dombrowski lays a shield for him, but Ford can't get anything going, and he stopped at the 50. Purdue acting like a bunch of little muck rabbits that he couldn't get away from.
John Ford is the speed wide receiver. I don't know that you're getting, there's a good reaction of Purdue. You see that one man that gets in position to make the tackle, he doesn't. Watch the tackle coming right there by Tommy Lee Myers, number 47. Good discipline on the secondary to the perimeters. They knew where to be. They knew that they had to stay there, and they did.
3rd and 5, play fake. Lukowski deep in the double coverage. Ford with a catch. At the 19-yard line, first down. They've been trying to get to him all day long. They finally do.
John Ford got a great stick put on him on the previous play. He comes right back. He's working there on number 15, Anderson. Single coverage. Anderson's bumping a little bit, and he has the ability, knowing where he is in the field, to come back and get the ball, and Corey Cooper has to push him out of bounds.
Said he really, until late in his senior season in high school, had no aspirations to play college ball. He had an older brother who went to the Air Force. He thought he would do that. His older brother, Adam, said, don't you dare. If you get a chance, you go get the education. So now he's a freshman in Virginia. Harold Petty to the 10-yard line and down to the 9 by Rod Woodson.
Now we can see clearly what George Welsh told his people at halftime. We're going to go hammer them, and then when it's an opportunity they think we're going to run, we're going to go throw the ball. So they've almost reversed their player. Howard Petty shows his strength, carries the player, and leg drive strength, makes an additional gain.
Virginia first and goal at the 9 with 10:57 to go, third quarter. They trail 24-14. 2 wide receivers split to the left. The play will go to the right side, and Harold Petty with a 5 and cut down at the 3-yard line. I like his power.
He really does have power. The coaches say he's a better tackle-to-tackle type runner. Again, what Virginia has done is they've come into the attitude that we're going to go pound away on downs on 1st and 10 plays and be in a position on 3rd down where it's short. If we want to pass, we can. More versatile, smart play, good power.
Harold Petty gets a rest. He has 90 yards on 15 carries. It's 2nd and goal from the 3. 24-14. Virginia trails. 2. Harry Word did not get in. But he's only a foot or so away from the play.
Was hit first by number 13, Cooper.
The key is you've got to move that defensive front. Right there, it looked like we had someone that slipped in. Couldn't tell the number. It might have been, can't speculate. One of the linebackers slipped in one of the seams and messed the play up.
That's how much on 3rd down. got the touchdown. But there is a flag on the near side.
We have offsides, defense, penalty refused, touchdown.
You've got to move that defensive front out of the way. They're going to the left side, and that's behind Guerin, the center, Olderman, and Dombrowski. Here it is one more time, working on Zilks, number 71. They're going to roll him up. Just right over the side there on that left side, the strength.
That's a 263-pound guard in Bob Olderman and a 290-pound tackle in Jim Dombrowski. The extra point is up and good. A 71-yard drive in 8 plays, 3 minutes and 22 seconds. Virginia's back in it. Well, that is always a special game, and special tomorrow for a couple of reasons. First of all, the final regular collegiate appearance of Doug Flutie, but also our colleague Lindsey Nelson calling his 25th consecutive Cotton Bowl game. That's quite a record, and our congratulations to him. Here's the kickoff by Virginia. Be taken by Wallace, who lets it bounce, gets the good hop, picks it up at the 8. But then is nailed as he gets near the 17-yard line.
That is a gutsy way to catch a kickoff, because that position 2 or 3 yards away from you in that position, that ball could have taken an errant bounce, and you're in bad field position and possibly turn the ball over. So that was a rather daring move. Didn't turn into a turnover, but could have been a mistake.
Purdue has had problems in the third quarter all year long, and they have gotten only 7 points, or they have given up 7 points already in the first Virginia drive of this quarter. First down at the 18-yard line. Everett with a play fake and a deep pass. Man is open. Out of bounds at the 37. Steve Griffin and Ray Daly made the tackle, number 8. That's a 19-yard gain for the junior from Miami. Not a big guy, Steve, 5'11", 185, but again, that great speed.
He really is. He was an average freshman in terms of a receiver when he first came to Purdue, but he has really developed into a player. Tom Kilgannon, number 77, the right defensive tackle, really put a good rush on Everett, but he was able to get the ball off and complete the pass.
24-21, Purdue has the lead. Carter going left, weaving his way for about 5 yards out near the 42-yard line. Kevin Gold, number 19, sophomore from Hampton, Virginia, made the tackle.
If the first couple of plays are any indication of the style that Virginia's going to have defensively against Everett, it seems like they're going to rely more on the rush of Mattis, Bond, and Kilgannon rather than trying to take chances and blitzing. Maybe drop back and play pass defense. Maybe
Rush,
that's a smarter trial.
Rush 3 and drop 8, right? Watch and see if that's the tactic they employ. Incomplete. Bob Sweeney put a pretty good pop on the intended receiver, Rodney Carter.
That time they rushed 4. Sean Scott, the outside linebacker, the freshman, the young man that Purdue was going to try to take advantage of. He rushed that time, but it really looks like they're going to stay at home with their 4 rushing people, down people either 3 or 4, and try to give Mr. Everett a tough time of finding an open receiver.
The third down and 5. Jim Everett now 13 of 28 for 177 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jeff Price, Steve Griffin, and Rick Bruner, all 3 in the lineup as Everett operates out of the shotgun. 8:37 to go, third quarter. Everett with a quick pass to Griffin in the flat. Little dipsy doodle, he should have a first down. He does at the 49-yard line. Russ Swan, number 93, made the tackle.
You have got to like the play selection and the mind, the thinking process of the offensive coaches. The previous play, Sean Scott, the outside backer, came. So Everett comes right back the next play, expecting the same thing. Scott rushes quickly, so they dump it to the flat area where Scott's vacated, just now picking it apart. So that's a smart offensive call.
First down and 10. Everett out of the regular set this time. Lays it across the middle to his fullback, Bruce King, and that's close for another first down at the 29-yard line.
This is one thing Jim Everett will have to improve on, I think, because watching this time, he gets a little bit lazy with his pass. Yes, he's going to complete it, but he just kind of sidearms the ball just to get it in there real quick. Maybe that's their style, but you've got to throw every time. Rotate your shoulders, do the right things every time. It's just like you're playing in practice. Look at the protection of those people blocking. There's 74. Drew Banks, he's replacing right now Jamot, 67.
First down and 10. From the shotgun on first down, it's the handoff. Tried to cross him up and did for a moment as Bruce King runs into the arms of Charles McDaniel, number 30. I was talking with George Welsh here yesterday afternoon and just casually said, give me a guess on what you think's going to happen. He says, oh, 41-40. I said, we'd like that. He said, well, I would too, as long as we got to 41. It may happen that way. It's 24-21 right now. Second down and 5 from the 33. Purdue marching with its second possession of the third quarter. Blocking Carter. They'll move the chain again as he gets to the 26-yard line. Carter had a big game in the final regular season game with 148 yards against Indiana. He's got 32 today and a 4 yards per carry average.
I'm starting to understand why Purdue was able to beat Notre Dame, Michigan, and Ohio State in the same season. When Everett gets shut down throwing the ball, then they can run the ball with Wallace or Carter or King. They really have a versatile attack.
It'll be a first and 10, 24-21. Here comes the blitz. Everett gets great protection. Then it breaks down with good secondary coverage, and he's sacked for one of the few times today. He had time, but while his line picked up the blitz, the secondary backs of Virginia were not giving way, and finally everything broke down. Tom Kilgannon got it.
Watch the secondary. They've got man coverage now. They've got to go pick up people. They're picking everyone up because they know that they're one-on-one with their receiver that's coming into their area, sticking with them all the way through the play. Everett had a lot of time, but it finally broke down, and he was able to not get the pass off.
That is the first sack by either team today, and it'll be a second down and 16 from the 32. Again, Purdue out of the shotgun. Rushing 3. Ray Wallace will be down at the 23-yard line. It'll still be 7 yards short of the first down. Kevin Gould made the tackle, number 19. Wallace, the junior from Indianapolis, Indiana.
Second down and long situation. If you're an offensive coach on the previous play, you're thinking in terms that they've got to go throw and make up the difference. So again, the Purdue idea was we're going to go and throw the little screen pass or do something. They're going to be hard charging. You know, you like the strategies of the two coaches. They try to outthink each other.
Third down, 8 from the 24. Purdue leads by 3 with 5 minutes to go, third quarter. Everett will have to get out of the pocket, pulls back and looks deep. Finally flings it away and incomplete. To the disapproval of the Virginia fans and some of those on the sidelines.
This is a tough play for if you're a defensive back, because now Jim Everett, because of Sean Scott, is forced out of the pocket. Now, as a defensive man, you've got to go find those receivers. They're moving around. Look, they're finding open areas. They're trained. If the play becomes an impromptu play, go to the open area. The defensive backs, they've got to react the same way. Never let up. Don't lose your concentration.
That was an uncatchable pass. That's the rule. And here's Rendina to kick his second field goal of the day. No good. Looked like it might have caught the upright. Not enough torque. Timeout. NCAA basketball returns to CBS next Saturday. Most of you around the country will see North Carolina State against Kentucky. Or those of you on the West Coast, join Steve Brody and me for the Oregon State-Washington game in Seattle. That's at 3 o'clock Pacific time. And, of course, the highlight of the afternoon, in addition to CBS basketball, the East-West Shrine Game from Palo Alto, live at 3 o'clock Eastern. Steve Davis will be a part of the broadcast crew for that event. First down 10, Virginia, trailing 24-21. Mikowski with a draw play to his fullback, Morse. And Steve Morse gets near the 28-yard line before he runs into the arms of Jason Houston, number 57. Derek Wimberly and Anthony Rose have now gone in up front defensively, along with Eric Anderson. So we have some defensive line changes for Purdue. Kevin Sumlin, 44, and Jason Houston remain the linebackers. But they've got three fresh faces in there now. Wimberly, Anthony Rose, numbers 89 and 68, along with Eric Anderson, number 75. Second down and 7 with 4:09 to go in the third quarter. Mikowski wanted to throw, couldn't, and finally scrambles out of bounds about 2 yards short of the first down. There was a wonderful quote about him by Paul Doherty about Mikowski in the Norfolk Ledger-Star, talking about how sometimes he doesn't look all that attractive. Doherty's quote was, "If quarterbacks can be said to win ugly, then Mikowski is the portrait of triumphant homeliness." He does
win, baby, win.
That's it.
What you got to do.
Exactly. Third down and 2. There's an example of it.
Right. That's the key. It doesn't matter. I never made All Big 8 or All American. It doesn't matter. The idea is to walk away from your career knowing that you were a winner, that you got the job done, and that's what's important. And that's what this young sophomore quarterback really possesses for Virginia. He'll be a part of the history in the turnaround of Virginia football, I would think, Don Mikowski, of just being innovative, the impromptu play, and making yardage upfield.
28 yards from Mikowski on the ground now on 9 carries, and he picks up the first down at the 40 with 3:57 to go third quarter. Virginia has run the ball well today. Barry Word.
I think I know who George Welsh chewed on at halftime. Dombrowski, Olderman, Guerin, Battle, and Chapin. That
the
front
offensive line.
Exactly.
Chris Dishman, who was injured in the first half and taken to the locker room early, is now limping off the field for the Purdue Boilermakers. He has come to the bench. Don Anderson comes on the near side as a cornerback. Mikowski wants to throw. Looks deep, has the man open. Zimmerlink and overthrows him. Gino Zimmerlink had a touchdown catch back in the first half. There's Chris Dishman. He's a redshirt freshman from Louisville.
Talk about the offensive line of Virginia. They're excellent blockers on the left side. There's had some problems at right guard, and Chapin at right tackle to the first start. Their majors are biology, commerce, electrical engineering, and economics.
Third and short, first down plus. Confirming my long-held belief that the most intelligent of the species of the offensive linemen.
I tell you, watch the surge of the offensive linemen. They've got to get the job done. That's where it's done. That's where you win football games. And watch, he goes right behind his center and his left guard, Olderman. Then he, rather than go to the turf, he realizes there's a seam there. Takes on the hit by 26, Woodson, but makes the 1st and 10.
Mikowski throwing the ball, 6 of 15 for 90 yards. He's over 30 yards running the ball. He'll throw it on first down and 10 after a play fake. Fires the ball, caught at the 31-yard line. The catch made
Muha.
by John Muha. Cross me up, number 15.
Muha's replacing John Ford right now. Inside fake, play action, frees those linebackers, and Muha comes to that open area, drives hard on the secondary back, then comes back for the football, slide into the open area, make the catch. Good throw, good catch.
If you joined us late, Virginia led through much of the first half. Their last lead was a 14-10. Purdue scored twice in the last 2.5 minutes and led by 10 at the half. Here's Barry Word rifling down the 21-yard line. And the Cavaliers came back in the third quarter with a long sustained drive to climb back to within 3 They trail right now at 24-21.
It's hard to believe that Virginia football has only had 3 winning seasons in 30 years. First year they went 2-9, 6-5 last year, and really undefeated in 7 games in 1984.
Second down and 1. Morse, that will move the chain. He gets it inside the 20 near the 17-yard line. Matter of fact, this is the best record for a Cavalier football team since 1952, when Art Geppe's team went 8-2. Not much doubt that George Welsh knows a little bit about how to get things accomplished.
When he first came in, he said, we're not going to wait 4 or 5 years. We've got to go get things done right now. Didn't give himself a time frame. The key was he had to teach them how to practice. He changed their technique, and he took a business-like approach, and it pays off.
First down and 10. Cavaliers trail 24-21. Mikowski keeps it and gets a couple. We're inside the final 90 seconds of the third quarter.
One of the things we've not seen in the second half all that much is the option play. They've got basically to hammer football and then pick and choose on their passing game. So they've kind of said, okay, Purdue, even though you only played against the option play against Ohio State and Minnesota, we'll give you credit that you're well coached, you've got the job done, we'll go hammer at you a while.
Second down, 9 officially from the 15. Audible by Mikowski at the line. Barry Word. He's got the great speed, but he can't really get loose. He does get inside the 10. And Rod Woodson, number 26, makes the tackle.
I said earlier that he was much like a straight line type runner. I don't think so anymore, coaches. I think he's changed. He goes in there and sees the inside plugged up. Maybe that's out of desperation more than anything else. Sees the front side all blocked off, and then he breaks outside to his left.
3rd and 3. Welsh has sent in the play. Buha started out, now comes back in, and Brian Hitchcock leaves. We've got 19 seconds to go in the third quarter. 3rd down and 3. Word to the 4-yard line. That should be enough to move the chain. Pretty shifty run.
Pretty physical back. 6'2", 214, world-class hurdler, a slasher-type speed. They say he's a straight-line type runner, not a finesse, but I mean, he just went right after them. That's
the end of the third quarter. We'll return after this commercial break and a word from your local station. We're back for the final 15 from the 17th annual Peach Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia. First down and goal, Virginia. They've got the ball at the 4-yard line, trailing by 3. Vern Lundquist along with Steve Davis. Barry Ward slips, picks up 1. It'll be 2nd and goal from the 4. George Welsh sends his plays in. What do you think?
Well, of course, at least in my study, they like inside the 10-yard line to run the option play. They feel comfortable with it, but they've not run the option play all that much in the second half, because they feel like, I think they've given credit to Purdue saying, listen, you've done a good job on that. I think they're going to go power football.
Morse. Maybe they ought to try the option play.
Well, the play that I really like, that it may be on 3rd down situation, is the play action where you come down the line of scrimmage on the option play and then throw it up. You know, throw the ball, throw the pass, come down just like it's option, then drop back a couple of steps and go with the receiver on the pass.
If you're on the left side of the field and the wide side is to the right, do you come to the right?
I think you counter option, go, act like you're going to go left real quick, and then come down to the option to the right and then throw the ball up in the air. It looks like, again, they're power football.
3rd and goal. Does not get there. Brad Horner, number 92, the nose guard, made the tackle, and they will settle for an attempt at the field goal. On 4th down, they were able to move it just 2 yards down to the 2.
Again, it was a kind of a play action, just what I thought. They didn't go to the side I felt like they would go to. They went to the short side of the field. That gave the quarterback the option to throw or run. Come up short.
As a result, Kenny Stadlin will try what amounts to an extra point, but he's got a bad angle from the left. Kick is up. Kick is good. We're tied. .12:59 to go in the ball game. We're notched at 24. There's a young lady who welcomed us on the air about 2.5 hours ago, Tammy Tesh, the 1984 Peach Bowl queen, and surrounded now as she was then by the other 9 members of her court, the princesses. And what a lovely group of young ladies they all are. Most of them college students from the Atlanta area or the Georgia area. Here's the kickoff by Stadlin. It'll be allowed to go through the end zone, touchback Purdue. Virginia, Steve, had the ball for 9 minutes and 9 seconds in the third quarter, and they outgained Purdue 159 yards to 56. It really was an impressive second half thus far by the Cavaliers.
That's one of the best ways to defense this young man, Jim Everett. Keep him off the field, control the ball, and that's what they've done. It's amazing. It's so obvious to see what George Welsh and his staff did at halftime, because they had a style of going right at you type football and keep him off the field. Those things were very clear, and that's what happened.
Third quarter rushing, Virginia 114-8. For the afternoon, at the end of 3 quarters, Virginia had rushed for 210. Everett to Carter. At the 26-yard line, it'll be second down and 4. Rodney Carter with the catch, and it'll be officially given as a 27-yard line.
That's the difference. That's the difference, Vern. We haven't talked about it, but the edge program that Coach Burnett brought into the system last year, they lost several ball games, 3 games, in fact, in situations that they should have won. That close ability shows it works. We'll talk about it in a minute.
Everett, Carter, boom! Charles McDaniel, who is the leading tackler on the Virginia squad, and I think you've got a pretty good example of why. Wonder if his uncle, Hootie Ingram, or his cousin, rather, Hootie Ingram, the athletic director at Florida State, enjoyed that. Oh. Ouch. It'll be third down. And they need the 30-yard line. 3rd and 2 officially. First down 10, Purdue. In a 24-24 game with 11:30 to go.
We were talking about the edge program that Leon Burnett put in the style. What it was, they were coming off 3 losing seasons, and when Burnett became the head coach, he felt like we needed to do something to make the team have some outside positive influences. And they brought in a positive thinker, a goal setter, and it changed the attitude of the team. They were losing games on foolish mistakes, and those 5 close calls by winning above 7 points shows that it worked for them mentally in their preparation.
4-man rush. Everett finds the open man. His fullback, Bruce King. And King turns and gets an additional 2 yards before the tackle is made near the 38-yard line. It was a 24-14 Purdue lead at the half as the Boilermakers scored twice in the last 2:22. But Virginia has scored 10 unanswered points here in the third and early parts of the fourth quarter. Bruce King comes out. Trainers will check him now. And Charles McDaniel a little woozy as he heads to the sideline. Junior from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Second down, 3 from the 38-yard line. Everett is 19 of 35 for 220 yards, 3 touchdowns. They'll give it off this time. Ray Wallace near the 40-yard line.
We've talked about Ron Mattis, number 98, the left tackle. This time, someone's going to get the best of him. It's easy. It's a little bit easier when you've got a double team, though. It makes it a little bit. Jamot, 67, with Alenka, number 69, the double team. That'll, you know, when you've got 450 pounds working against 286, you're going to give up a little bit.
3rd and 1. Adjustment by Everett. Don't know. Scramble. Who got it? That is only the 7th fumble that Purdue has lost this year. The 7th fumble.
You've got to wonder what the play was called, because Jim Everett, he saw something in the defensive set. They changed the play at the line of scrimmage. He was expecting something else. Maybe he thought the linebackers were going to be out of position, but they came into a blitz, and it disrupted the play and everything, and someone makes a good hit out of the secondary, maybe Sweeney or Lyles, as the ball pops loose, and it's a big turnover.
And it looks like Scott Matheson, the junior from Virginia Beach, Virginia, number 60, made the recovery. First down, Virginia, and they've got the ball at the 42. Mikowski hands it off. Harold Petty breaks a tackle, picks up 8 yards.
How would you like to be a Purdue defensive lineman and tackle Barry Wood all afternoon and know that he's going to be hitting and pounding at you, and then Wood goes to the sidelines, and here comes Petty. Petty's the starter and has had an outstanding year.
I think I just called it Harold. It's Howard. And he's got 99 yards in the game, 2nd down and 1. That's putting over 100 for the game. Petty inside the 30.
In watching films of the Maryland game, I really felt like, and I've written it on my spotting board, that both are physically assaulting, and I think probably that doesn't describe fairly how assaulting they really are.
Got an injured player down. Trainers are out to tend on him. Timeout has been called. We're tied at 24. Thus far in 1984, Virginia's had the better of it in the 4th quarter, and they have an opportunity to take the lead now with a first down 10 at the 29-yard line. Tie game 24-24. Mikowski has a man open. It's Zemmerlink, and he's got a first down at the 14-yard line. There's also a flag down as Gino Zemmerlink runs a crossing pattern and gets the big catch. Late hit Purdue, 16-yard gain. Well, they describe Zemmerlink as a free spirit. And right now, I'm sure he's really happy young man. Here's the call. That'll be a half the distance call.
Zemmerlink, the tight end, really, he gets so behind everybody. The linebackers are up in the play, and they're just running along with Mikowski. There they are. They jump up in the air. Now, here comes the late hit. There's one. It comes from the left right here. I think it was, I think it was Merkel Williams, number 42, because he came out of the ball game.
On Purdue, that's an automatic first down for spearing.
Not just a late hit, but using the helmet.
Little frustration. You've got to maintain your poise. You've got to know where you are, and if that player's going down, if there's any doubt in your mind, get away from him, roll away, but don't hit him.
On their last possession, Virginia had a first and goal from the 4. Now they're first and goal from the 8-yard line, and the give is up the middle. Steve Morse, the fullback.
The call for the field goal looks smarter and smarter as we get in a position where Virginia's probably going to score, at least get very close to scoring. They're probably going to come away from the point. The point is that Welsh knew he had momentum. They were moving the ball. Let's go back, kick the field goal, tie it up, and we'll come back with the ball next time.
Second down and goal from the 7. Petty is down to the 2-yard line. For the 3rd time this season, Howard Petty has gone over 100 yards. Earlier, he had 131 against Wake Forest and 114 against Duke. Prior to that carry, he was at 111 yards for the day. And he has been most impressive. 107 yards officially now.
When you're running inside the tackles, you've just got to go and put head on head. He goes right into Jason Houston, the linebacker, hits him right in the mouth where you've got to make something happen.
3rd and goal from the 3. Fourth down and a foot. Can't be much more than that. I've got to believe he'll go for it. Fans want him to. Timeout has been called while Virginia talks it over. And it was the Cavaliers who called time. They need that much for the lead. We'll be back in a moment. Leon Burdnett, the Purdue coach, has talked it over with his defensive players. Basic, stop them. And George Welch has talked it over with his offense. They've got a foot to go for the go-ahead touchdown.
They've had too much power and too much success by going with their tailback, either Word or Petty. I've got to think that they're going to go behind that offensive line, go behind their strength, and use the backs that have brought them this far in the drive.
Okay, if you've got Dombrowski, number 73, at 290 pounds, and Olderman, number 79, at 265 pounds on the left side. Whoops, now we got a flag down.
I can't believe it. I can't.
Delay of game after a timeout. What in the world?
To get the field goal. To drop back, to get a little bit more distance between the goalposts, to go and kick the field goal.
Are you saying it's a deliberate delay of game?
They have delay on Virginia exceeding the 25-second clock. It's still 4th down.
You've got to accept the penalty.
That is an automatic penalty. Delay of game. So there was no option. You think they took a deliberate delay of game to get the field goal? I'm shocked. High snap. Stadlin's kick is good. Virginia has the lead, but it's only by 3 when it might have been 7. 7:17 remaining in the ball game. Virginia leads by 3. Having called timeout to discuss their options on 4th and a foot, the Cavaliers then took what Steve is convinced was a deliberate delay of game call to kick the field goal. Now they're going to get another delay of game call for kicking it out of bounds. When you said it was deliberate, it took me by surprise, but I think you're right, because when we came back after the timeout, they never broke the huddle for 25 seconds.
Never left the huddle. They were letting the clock run down. They knew what they were doing. The point is, George Welch wants to win the football game. Maybe he felt like the field goal was a better way to go about it, but I just really feel like that's playing it a little bit too conservative. If I would have been the quarterback or a running back or an offensive line and busted my butt all the way down the field, I'd go want to score the touchdown. And but that's the coach, and the coach makes the decision.
George does not look like a guy right now who's thrilled with a 3-point lead.
Well, he shouldn't be. With Jim Everett, he can take him down the field, and he can get the field goal and tie it right back up. So what have you done for yourself? He has had success.
Well, yesterday, the Chicago Bears took a deliberate safety, and Mike Ditka knew if it didn't work, he was going to be second-guessed on it. Turned out it worked. And I'm sure George Welch knows that if this tactic doesn't work, newspaper columnists will have a field day with that. There's a pretty good return after the 33-yard line. Speaking of Mike Ditka and the Chicago Bears, they will be at the 49ers next Sunday afternoon, as Bill Walsh and the San Francisco 49ers have the home field advantage for the NFC Championship game. It all begins with the NFL Today live at 3:30 Eastern Time next Sunday, as either Chicago or the 49ers will be the NFC representative in the Super Bowl in 1985. Want to take a guess? I think it's going to be a whale of a game.
I like the Bears. Of course, you can't knock San Francisco. They're so successful, but I like the Bears.
Everett, screen pass works, Carter. But it doesn't work for a whole lot as he gets near the 37-yard line. Rodney Carter made the catch. Total offense now, Purdue with 66 yards rushing and Virginia 233, which underscores why they don't go for it on 4th and a foot if they've run the ball that well. Passing Purdue 220 yards to 118 for Virginia. Well, each team has exemplified its strength.
I really can't get over that call, though. You're on the 1-foot line.
And I've seen guys at the 35 or the 40-yard line take 5 yards for the punter to get it back, but I've never seen a deliberate delay of game call on 4th and a foot.
Well, he's got a lot of confidence in his defense and the way the ball game has gone in the second half, and you've got to give him credit for that. And that's a compliment to the defense.
Purdue has called timeout. The timeout is taken with 6:38 remaining in the ball game. A holiday tradition returns on CBS tonight, the 6th annual Happy New Year America celebration, broadcast live from 3 locations around the country. Andy Williams will host a spectacular live from New York, where Gladys Knight and the Pips will entertain. At Billy Bob's in Fort Worth, there'll be Charlie Daniels and Louise Mandrell. And from Florida, Kool and the Gang and Shaka Khan. That's tonight, 11:30 Eastern. Happy New Year, America. Second down. Purdue trailing by 3 now. Everett on the roll. Has a 1st and 10 and is safely out of bounds. Some thought he might have been contacted a little late by Russ Swan, but there is no flag. Swan wearing number 93. Well, here comes Purdue with 6:31 to go in the game.
And that illustrates the confidence that George Welsh has in his defense and what they've done. It's not been so much the results over here, punt, miss, field goal, fumble. It's been good, hard, solid, smart defensive play that caused those type of results of their drives.
First down, 10. 27-24, Virginia leads. 3-man rush. Drop 8. Everett going deep in the man coverage. The ball will be overthrown and incomplete. Ryan Jackson, the young man from Washington, D.C., had terrific protection on the play. Wasn't fooled at all. Everett now 20 of 37 for 225 yards, 3 touchdowns, all in the first half. He's been intercepted twice. We are live from Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia, the 17th annual Peach Bowl. Virginia leads Purdue 27-24. I'm Vern Lundquist along with Steve Davis. Second down and 10, Everett out of the shotgun. Steve Griffin, first down at the 35. Scrambled for the football, but the rule is that he was down. 18-yard gain. Bob Sweeney came up with it, but after the play had been whistled down.
They go 3 deep, 4-man underneath coverage, and Steve Griffin splits it right down the middle, right behind the 3 underneath men, and makes the grab. Jim Everett had the presence to know where he was and throw it. He goes to the turf, but then fumbles, and of course it's still Purdue's ball.
No question the ground caused the fumble, and the ground cannot cause the fumble. Purdue with a first down at the 35 with 6:10 to go in the game. Everett, 21 of 38 for 243 yards. The only man who has ever passed for more yardage in the Peach Bowl was Chuck Long of Iowa in 1982. In the face of some pretty good pressure, a man is open. Caught, no, incomplete. Ray Daly defending on Jeff Price.
Jeff Price, the ball was not thrown when it should have been. Right about there was when it should have been thrown. Everett was pushed out, and so the ball was a little bit hung up, and he just could not control it. Ray Daly's really played well when he's been isolated one-on-one coverage. They were going to attack Daly and Frazier, the 2 cornerbacks. Daly has played well, and that time he was working against Jeff Price.
Price has 2 touchdown catches in this game. 3rd and 10, or 2nd and 10 at the 35. Flag is down. Ball is incomplete. Russ Swan defending number 93. Jerry Boat, number 65, the center, goes over to backfield in motion. Well, now an interesting option for George Welsh and the Virginia Cavaliers. Do you want 3rd and 10 or 2nd and 15 against Jim Everett?
Decline it.
There's Don Mikowski, the 6'9" high jumper in high school.
Illegal motion. Purdue refused. 3rd down.
That's right. Take that 3rd down. The way he can throw 15 yards, 20 yards means nothing. Take the 3rd down. Put him in a pressure situation. Now he's got to go throw the ball.
All right, defensively, do you rush 3 and drop 8 again, or you try and play some schemes? Play a couple of games.
I'd rush 4.
Rush 4?
With a fanatical effort.
3rd and 10 from the 35. 5:44 to go in the game. Purdue trails 27-24. Here comes the fanatical effort. The ball is caught. I don't know if he's got the first down or not. This is going to be something. Here is one of those all-important spots. Left foot or right foot. John Madden.
You know, Madden says that all the time. If the guy's got a big right foot, you know.
I would assume that if he's got a big right foot, though, he'd have a big left foot.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Most of them I've seen in years have been equal proportion.
Yeah, that's right.
There it is.
Oh, got it.
First down, Purdue. On a 3rd and 10 call.
Fanatical effort by the pass rush. It just wasn't enough. Drop back, play pass defense, and it just got enough yardage for the 1st and 10. He's thinking 3 points.
I wonder if he's thinking he could have had 7.
He may need 7.
1st and 10, Purdue. 5:12 to go in the game.
Now you take a risk on defense.
Here they come with the blitz. Flags are down. And they came before the play was snapped. May have been someone in that neutral zone. Well, let's see. Illegal procedure.
Whoa.
Oh.
Well, that hurts.
By the way, the crowd today was not quite what they had hoped for. They expected a crowd in excess of 50,000. The actual attendance today, 41,107 here in the Beach Bowl.
5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
The weather was probably too good.
That's right.
A lot of people enjoyed the sun today in Atlanta.
A lot of people out on picnics. Everett for the day, 252 yards, 3 touchdowns, all in the first half. It'll be 1st and 15 from the 30 with 5:02 to go in the ball game. Blitz is coming again. Everett stands strong. Intercepted, I believe. Ray Daly's got his 2nd of the day.
By Tom Kilgannon and Charles McDaniel right there, number 30, that caused Everett to throw the ball sidearm. He couldn't put enough strength on it. Ray Daly makes the interception. Big turnover for Virginia. We'll be back. Watch Steve Griffin, number 2, the split end. Jim Everett is getting a fanatical rush put on him. Griffin will try to turn Daly, but Everett's not able to put all the arm into the ball. He throws it sidearm and short, and Daly's able to pick the ball off.
Daly started his career at the Naval Academy under George Wells. Played there 2 years, transferred, sat out a year, now a senior. Barry Word to the 23-yard line. And Virginia will go to work on the clock now. First bowl appearance ever for the Cavaliers. Steve, talk a little bit about the importance of a bowl game for these teams in terms of the recruiting value.
Well, for Virginia, it represents an opportunity for them to truly go and recruit against schools like West Virginia and Penn State. They've got a good stronghold in those areas and a lot of contacts. For Purdue, with the Notre Dame situation a little bit in an uproar, the future of Jerry Faust at stake, Purdue's one of the better choices in the state of Indiana, because last year Notre Dame only recruited 17 players, and now Leon Burnett and George Welsh are both able to capitalize on the exposure nationally and all those things to help them recruit.
Timeout has been called. It comes with 4:18 remaining in the game. George Welsh looks on, hoping, I think, right now that his tactical decision to take a deliberate delay of game call on a 4th down in the foot so they can get a better angle on a field goal will pay dividends. They got the field goal. They lead by 3. Ray Daly got the interception to give the Cavaliers the ball back. Purdue called the last time out. They've got 1 left. Pitch out, Barry Word. Almost broke loose. And that buys them at least a couple of minutes on the clock.
Exactly. Again, when you're an option-oriented football team, you've got the defense at a disadvantage because they're worried about how you can run horizontal on the field, sideline to sideline, and that's a real problem, and it creates seams. And when you're the option team, you have the advantage because you've been running it. You've seen the same tendencies of defenses all year long, so you know where those cuts are, and that's what he was able to do, make the cut and the 1st and 10.
Barry Word now has 78 yards to complement Howard Petty's 109. Mikowski gives it out up the middle to the 35-yard line. The clock shows 3:45 to go. Purdue, of course, in its 5th bowl appearance, they have never lost in a bowl game. They are 4-0. Leon Burtnett's team picked as low as 8th or 9th when the season began. But the development of Jim Everett, that flexing junk defense that he brought to Purdue as a defensive coordinator, resulted in a 7-4 win. Their losses came to Iowa. They also lost to Miami of Florida early in the season after having defeated Notre Dame. 2nd down and 7. Oh boy, dangerous pitch. Word gets it and fights for another 1st down, and that may do it. But what a dangerous pitch out from Mikowski to Word. 3:05 remaining in the game. The clock momentarily stops as they move the chain. Well, it's been a special time for us here at the Peach Bowl, and we want to thank Virginia's athletic director, Dick Schultz, the head football coach, George Welsh, and the sports information director, Rich Murray. From Purdue, the athletic director, George King, the head football coach, Leon Burtnett, and the sports information director, Jim Brujink, and the Peach Bowl Executive Committee President, Don Elliott Heel, the immediate past president, Bill Zieberts, the executive director, George Crumbly, and our special guy, television liaison man, Marvin Bowen. Been so helpful to us. Here's Petty, and he gets a couple. The time now very much in Virginia's side. Statistician here for the Peach Bowl was Roger Riley, and I brought the family in and had Tam Lundquist as the spotter today. Of course, we said we would select the most valuable player for each team, and we have so chosen our most valuable player for Purdue, Jim Everett, who threw 3 touchdown passes today, and for Howard Petty, the most valuable award in part of Virginia, 111 yards, 20 carries, 1 touchdown. A $1,000 scholarship will go to both schools in behalf of each of those players. 1:55 and counting. And it looks like Virginia will wind up the season with an 8-2-2 mark.
Well, it's a tremendous accomplishment what George Welsh has accomplished in so little time at Virginia. And I know that the people of Virginia have just got to be elated with the performance on the field that the Cavaliers have shown and displayed all year long.
3rd down. Running for the 1st down and perhaps the game. He's got it. That should put the cap on it. And there is elation on the Virginia bench. And in the stands.
You've got to admire the confidence that George Welsh had by taking the delay of game penalty, dropping back 5 yards, kicking the 3 points, and saying, okay, defense, you go out and win the ball game for them. And that's what's happened. They created the turnover. Now the offense is controlling the clock.
Final minute of the game. Barry Word for a loss. I want to thank our producer here at the 17th Annual Peach Bowl, also Rick Sharp. Good to work with you again, Rick. And Larry Cavallina, our director, in charge of the pictures. The executive producer of college sports on CBS is Kevin O'Malley. This game was produced by Rick Sharp and directed by Larry Cavallina. Our associate producer, Robert Rowe, known by most of us as Bob, and our associate director, Donna Miller. Broadcast associate, Rich Gentile. Well, it has been an amazing game, back and forth. We've been on the teeter-totter most of the game, and a very controversial decision by George Welsh when his team was tied at 24-all late in the game. They had 4th and a foot at the Purdue 1-foot line. He opted to take a deliberate timeout and put the ball back 5 yards. Stadlin came on, kicked the field goal 27-24. Purdue then marched down the field, but Daly got his second interception of the game, and Virginia has now put together 3 first downs in succession to apparently secure the victory. While we're handing out the thanks, may I say how much fun it's been to work with you again, Steve Davis.
Vern, I'm glad you're back on the college game. I know how hard you prepared.
I went away from an Oklahoma quarterback to that big Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback, and now I'm back with the Oklahoma quarterback.
Yeah, I know.
46 seconds to go. And now the clock will continue to unravel. The Virginia Cavaliers lost to Clemson 55-0 to open the season. Many think the key to their season, as you look at Leon Burtnett as the clock winds down, was not the victory over West Virginia, but instead the victory over Virginia Tech. They trailed 23-13, came from behind, won the ball game. And now the Cavaliers celebrate while Paul Electa, a 3-year starter, shows the other side of what this game can be.
They'll want to come back to another bowl, I promise you.
Be sure to be with us tomorrow for the Cotton Bowl, starting at 12:30 Eastern with Heisman Trophy winner Doug Flutie and Southwest Conference champs Houston. Once again, our final score, 27 for Virginia, 24 for Purdue, as Virginia scored 17 unanswered points in the second half to take the win. CBS Sports presents college football. The 1984 Peach Bowl has been a presentation of CBS Sports.